When I was about 10 years old, I was playing the video game The Sims at my uncle's house, and he was babysitting me. And I was trying to understand what was that language that these Sims were speaking, because I was so into this game. I loved it. And I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to know what is it they're saying to each other, because they have this made-up language called Simish. And I was so curious, what are they saying to each other? I don't know. It's a secret. I'm left out. What are they saying to each other? So I woke my uncle up. He's half asleep, and I asked him, "Hey, what language are they speaking? Do you know?" And he, half asleep, just kind of says something. He makes something up. He says, "I don't know, Dutch." And I believe him. And I go to the library the next week with my parents, and I get a cassette tape and a book on Dutch, and I study it, and I learn enough to come back to my uncle and tell him that's not Dutch. And that was the seed, the first foundation of my confidence that I could learn foreign languages independently. And so when I got, a couple years later, I'd been learning Spanish using my own methods, diving deep, and I got into high school Spanish class my freshman year, and everything felt wrong. It was cold, lifeless, mechanical, disengaged, people just following these rote processes, and it felt so distant from the actual living language that I'd grown to love. So distant from the way the language actually lived. So if you've ever thought something like, oh, I'm just no good at foreign language, or I don't even know where to start, or I've tried it before, but it's not really my thing, then it's not your fault, because I believe the systems, the methods that we tend to use around the world to learn languages are fundamentally flawed, fundamentally broken, and it's not your fault. So 3 points to share with you real quick. Number 1, humans, not textbooks. Language learning is not about passing tests. It's about relationships with human beings. That's where the language actually lives, is in the mouths, ears, and minds of real native speakers. And it's about patterns, not rules. It's not just about memorizing things like a robot. It's about actually following the patterns so that you can accomplish something that you want, communicate something you want, have a relationship in the way that you want with another human being. Number 2, it's about spoken, not written, at least with the majority, of spoken languages in the world. That's the foundation. It's not, babies don't learn to write first. They learn to speak. They imitate their parents as accurately as possible. And number 3, the systems and beliefs, again, they're broken. So if you pay attention to what the world tends to tell you about learning a new language, you can go way beyond that. Don't let that limit you. Over the past 15 years, I've learned Spanish, Portuguese, and a little bit of Italian, Dutch, and Russian, and I've also helped, over the last year, over 10,000 Brazilians to improve their American accent through my paid and free content and programs. So if you're looking to breathe new life into your foreign language dreams, it's very possible, and the way to do it is by connecting with the people who are already living in that language, not just rules at a distance.